ดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลังAPEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะสวัสดีค่ะขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติเราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทยเราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพ APEC ปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกันขอบคุณค่ะการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลังAPEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียว และด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกัน เราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะ
Specialization Eco-Learning and Use as Change Makers จะเริ่มตอน 9 โมงนะคะ
ค
สวัสดีค่ะ ขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติ เราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทย เราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพเอเปกปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกัน ขอบคุณค่ะ การแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิต การทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเรา เราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิม ด้วยการร่วมใจกัน เราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคต เพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้าง เชื่อมโยง และสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้น เพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคต เราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุน เปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจ เปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่ เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆ เราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกัน เรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัล สร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโต ปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัด เรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจ และดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วม ทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไป เราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกัน เรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลังเอเปกได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ ขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติ เราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทย เราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพเอเปกปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกัน ขอบคุณค่ะ การแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิต การทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเรา เราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิม ด้วยการร่วมใจกัน เราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคต เพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้าง เชื่อมโยง และสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้น เพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคต เราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุน เปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจ เปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่ เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆ เราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกัน เรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัล สร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโต ปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัด เรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจ และดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วม ทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไป เราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกัน เรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลัง APEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะสวัสดีค่ะขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติเราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทยเราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพ APEC ปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกันขอบคุณค่ะการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลัง APEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะสวัสดีค่ะขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติเราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทยเราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพเอเปกปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกันขอบคุณค่ะการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเราเราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลังเอเปกได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะสวัสดีค่ะขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติเราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทยเราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพเอเปกปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกันขอบคุณค่ะการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเราเราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่ เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลัง APEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะสวัสดีค่ะขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติเราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทยเราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพ APEC ปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกันขอบคุณค่ะการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลัง APEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะสวัสดีค่ะขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติเราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทยเราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพ APEC ปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกันขอบคุณค่ะการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลัง APEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะสวัสดีค่ะขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติเราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทยเราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพ APEC ปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกันขอบ คุณค่ะการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลังAPEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะ
Swadikap. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all the members, and welcome all of you to the second day of the Youth Forum on Green and Eco-Friendly Awareness, Voices of Youth, developing competencies and skills for better environment in the brighter future in Bangkok, organized by Ministry of Education Thailand together with the Chulalongkorn University as a partner in order to celebrate the host of APEC 2022 by Thailand this year. So welcome all of you once again. And I'm Jessida Salatong will be the MC for today's event. So first of all, I would like to tell you about the schedule for today. We will start with the talk. It's the special session today. We're gonna talk with Mr. Alex Rendell, UNEP Goodwill Ambassador for Thailand and CEO of the Environmental Education Center or EEC. Then their topic is Eco-Learning and Youth as Change Makers. Then we will follow by panel discussion on learning to transform for a better environment. Together with Kun Alex, we will have two more panelists with us. Then we're gonna have Q&A and we will finish the session around noon in Thailand time. So that's the schedule for today, what we are going to meet for today's event. However, I would like to start today's event with the special talk with the title Eco-Learning and Youth as Change Maker, with Mr. Alex Rendell. Okay, so not to further ado, I would like to say hi to Mr. Alex. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับผม
สวัสดีครับ
ขออนุญาตถอดหน้ากากในการ พูดคุยแล้วกัน
ได้ครับ
นะครับ
so that we can see each other face
Right.
okay okay so well I would like to briefly introduce Mr. Alex Rendell for those who are not in Thailand. Well, actually, I have seen Mr. Alex for a long time, since he was young, because he is a veteran actor in Thailand. However, right now, I have seen Mr. Alex with the different role, more active on environmental issues, because right now, he is a Goodwill ambassador for UNEP. I think you're the first national UNEP ambassador in
Yes,
Thailand,
that is
right?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and more than that, you are also the co-founder of EEC, right? Environmental Education Center Thailand, and Party's Ambassador Diver. There are so many titles for you. So, first of all, I would like to ask you, like, what made you interested in environmental issues?
Well, I think we would have to take the story back to when I was around 10 years old. When I was 10, I had the opportunity. I was already, as I am today, I'm an actor as well. I do acting jobs ever since I was a child. And when I was 10 years old, I had the opportunity to join an execution of rescuing wild elephants in Thailand, in Khao Yai. And at the same time, I went on a family holiday to PP Islands. So I think those two events were the first time that I was exposed to nature, and that was the first time that really hit me and really impacted me. But growing up, I always didn't think that I was going to work in the field of environment, because if we take back 20 years ago, environmental related careers weren't as popular as it is today. So at the time, I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be a director, I wanted to do, so I studied Nithet Jula, which is communication arts, which is where you're teaching.
Actually, you study in my faculty, but unluckily, I didn't have a chance to teach you. Okay.
Right, yeah, so, but during those days, I always had it in my head that I was not, I didn't like the city too much. I like to go in and I like to come out, but I didn't like the life that I was more like, whenever I was in nature, I felt like it was something that I felt, this is me. And once I finished from Jula, I was like finding new opportunities and seeing what I can do. I was a bit like, okay, acting, is there something else I can do? I have a great education background. I went to a great school, went to a great university. And that's when I started doing charity work and I took my open water, PADI open water, scuba diving course. And that was the first time I had a fundraising program through social media platforms to bring an elephant from the south of Thailand and help him, basically. And that was the first time when I realized that I could actually make a difference with the platforms that I have. I'm an actor. I have a social status that is an advantage when it comes to helping people. So I felt that, okay, I might as well make the most of it. And then from then it just led on. People started to invite me to environmental related events. And then it came up, I'm like, I got this idea like, okay, let's start this education center. Like EEC, environmental education. EE is actually a subject that was that is a global, well-known subject. Maybe not so much in Thailand, but we took that model and then we pretty much put it into an organization. And ever since then, things just kept escalating in a very, very good way. Like I was, as you mentioned, the United Nations Goodwill ambassador, which was something that I did not expect. And that's the beginning. So that's how it started. That's how the story came. And right now we're in our 7th year. We just had our 7th birthday for EEC. So now we're in a stage where we're recovering from the pandemic and also planning new directions for the future.
Okay, well, let me focus on EEC, because you said that actually you have a chance to join environmental activities, but for many people, it's just like to join.
Right.
Not to create a platform or to form a center like this. What made you so committed?
Right.
So that you can, what is the origin that why you got an idea that, hey, I should do something, I should like found something?
Yeah, so the original idea of EEC was let nature be our classroom. Let nature be somewhere where we could study, where we could understand. And the whole idea is that if you educate someone about the environment, they're more likely to care about the environment. Like right now, we're in a situation where we're trying to tell people to care. But if you could tell kids to care at a very young age, it becomes part of them. And if it means something to them, then eventually they would want to protect it without having us to have to force them. So the idea was to use the EE model, environmental education, for the sustainability of our everything, of our natural resources, of our people, of our jobs, of everything, basically. So the idea was to educate, to conserve, educate people so that they would, and going back to your question, like, I became committed because I was so surprised with the feedback that was kind of like, I thought it was going to, at the time, I thought it was going to be like a side hobby, something I enjoyed doing. But we did one camp. We said the first year we're going to do 3 camps. We ended up doing 8. The next year we said we're going to do around 10. We ended up doing like 20 or something like that. So we were so surprised with the amount of people amount of parents that wanted their children to learn about the environment. And we weren't aware, but at the time, I think maybe not so much choice of this kind of education. And during a time where outdoor education trend is increasing in Thailand, I think. So with all those different factors, it started to become a full-time job almost. Acting is like my second job now, believe it or not. So so the idea was to create a learning process, like over 3 days, 2 nights. Like, we did day trips, but we felt that if we could have 4 days, 3 nights, we could take them and we could have a process from beginning, middle to end. All this has to be designed based on environmental sustainability content and also the development of the children. Like, we also see EEC as a platform for young students to develop their personal skills in their lives. And the point is not really for them to all become conservationists, but the point is whatever they do in their lives, they're going to have their dreams. Some of them want to be athletes, some of them want to be artists, but whatever they do in their lives, they're going to have that environmental concern, that conscious, that whatever decisions they make are going to be a positive decision for the general public. Because I personally believe, like, I might be wrong saying this, but I personally believe that a lot of the environmental issues that are going on today are made from personal decisions that probably didn't go to EEC when they were young. So if we could build a new generation of kids, I think like in 20 years' time, we might have a complete new generation of a higher percentage of environmental caring leaders.
Well, so in conclusion, what EEC doing right now is create a sort of environmental camp like that?
Yeah, so we have many different sections. Mainly we do environmental camps. Right now we have our marine life and wildlife. Marine life being the ocean, wildlife being the forest side. So marine life we start from 3.5 years. We actually, all of the camps we start from 3.5 years old. We actually did a toddler camp. We're starting toddler, so very, very young. And 8 years old, you could do bubble making, scuba diving. 10 years old, you could get a patio open water and you could go diving with us. The far side, an example would be the end of this year, we're hoping to partner up with Doi Tung and do some sort of camp on restoration, because I really love the project that they've done. We do wild orchid camps that we've done. We've done elephant camps. Next week we have a butterfly and friends camp. So in Nakhon Nayok this week. So those are the projects, those are the camps that we have like rolling like maybe 2 times a month. And we also have another section which we work with corporates, whether it's the private sector or the government side. So an example would be like this weekend we're training teachers within the province of Rayong to learn more about the environment and help them create a course for them to educate the kids in their students, and some of those students will come on camp with us. So that's like a project that will last us to the end of the year. We do production in-house. We do reports in-house. So we work with a lot of partners depending on the needs of our partners and see what we have, and then we kind of like, whether it's for marketing purposes, for impact purposes, for activity purposes, team bondings, workshops. We're quite capable of quite a variety of different kind of subjects. Different projects. Sorry.
Yeah, well, you just mentioned about toddlers camp.
Right.
That's really interesting because actually there are many times that people ask, like, when we would like to equip environmental awareness to the young kids, how young should it be?
I personally think that as young as they're capable to learn. I just had a baby. I didn't have a baby. My brother had a baby. My brother had a baby.
That's gonna be a big news.
Yeah, my brother just had a baby, and she's 2 months old. And you could see her developing every single day. I live where I hold her. I could see her. So I think that even babies are capable of learning. But for us, you need to be like 2 years old for them to be able to walk. And I just think that the new modern era is all about, it's so fast, with the social media. It causes the younger generation to have very, very short tempers, because it's so fast. 3 seconds you can swipe, So I think doing these camps allows them to like calm down and really see what is in front of them. And I've worked with many different organizations from around the world. So we've had kids from many different regions from around the world. And I could say that all kids love animals. That's the one thing in common that we have in all cultures, all societies, that all the kids are going to love animals. And we are using the animals as a tool for them to learn and want to have that environmental awareness. So to answer your question, 2 years old, what do? We get them into the forest, them walking very slowly, finding little things and doing little artworks, making elephant noises, telling them about the animals within the area. So I think it really depends on the person designing the project as well, like to be able to match that age, that student, that age range. So I think that as young as they are, and I really hope that what we are doing will one day inspire schools. Schools are slowly doing it. I think like nurseries, they should be waking up and learning about fish. Just like they're slowly learning about math and science. Like, I think this day and era, it should be part of them, just like math and science are for us. So I really think that they could slowly put that into the education system, if possible. But that's one of the missions, one of the goals that we're on in the long term.
Yeah, well, but you already also mentioned that environmental issues was not like popularized in the past. Then how can we convince the parents or convince the school to pay for environmental activities?
I mean, it's slowly increasing, I think, and I think that it's. I think that if we were to go back 5 years, just the subject of environment as a whole is very different. Like when I first started, like EEC was founded in 2015, so we're on our 7 years ago. We're on our 8th year now. At the time, very little on social media was about the environment, very little pages, very little talks, but now you fast forward, I think the whole experiential tourism of the newer generation, people growing, people coming up, people want to travel and be at the beaches, and they start to love nature a little bit more. And I think the trend with the plastic pollution that we've seen, and so many great work that people have been doing with managing the plastic, managing the marine debris that we have. So I think all these things come together and make people more aware of it. So the parents, once they're in that society, they also want their kids to be able to learn. Because the parents that come, we have basically two types of parents.
Who are they?
The first one is parents shop. The parents like it. They want their kids to have it.
They like it themselves.
Right. They like it themselves, and they want their kids to learn like this. And the second type is their kid loves it. They see that their kids only opening animal books all day long, so they find a platform that suits that they want to give what their kids like. So those are the students that we have, but I just feel that we're not viewed. I personally think that it's for sustainability, but I think that at this point, parents want their kids to be able to learn like environmental related stuff. So there's many different reasons why someone would join, and depending on the motivation of that parent.
Well, but this kind of activities, you know, like although I think it's really good that you have someone who interested, like parents who are interested, or the parent who saw their kids interested in environment. That's why they come to EC, right? But then if we look in the broader perspective, like how can we get Thai youth or Thai young generation in general to be equipped with environmental awareness?
First of all, I think that it should be more emphasized and more encouraged in schools. But at the same time, it is quite encouraged at this point compared to what it was before. Like I also was doing a camp with the Green World Foundation a couple of days ago, and then they are doing a camp. I was one of the speakers for them, and I could see that they're building a network of young environmentalists from around the country, like 100, 150 students, north, south, northwest, northeast, everywhere from the country. So I think that the trend is slowly coming, and I think that the perception that in this day and age, if we were to go back in time, anything to do with the environment was viewed for nonprofits, for foundations, you know,
Charity.
hobbies, right? Charities, exactly, volunteers.
Or CSR.
For CSR, done in a in a CSR form.
Yep.
But now, in this day and age, is done when sustainability is more serious. More jobs are offered. For example, before the CSR were done from the marketing side of that company. Now they have a sustainability side that actually have to do research and actually have to claim the sustainable side of that company, and especially all the companies which are listed in the market. All those companies have to do some sort of sustainability side to them. We have grants coming from in our country and abroad as well that are trying to find projects to fund. So my point is that in this day and age, it's such a great time for the young students to want to work in this area, because it is no longer a volunteer industry.
Yeah.
It is actually a job. And I think that with that incentive, because of course people want to grow up, they want to be able to make a living, and look after their parents, look after their kids, to be self-dependent. And I think the perception before is if you work in this, it's not self-dependent, it's a hobby. But now it is actually a job. So we see universities having more faculties, we see universities paying more attention, we see the SDG goals being taught in year 5, year 6 students in international schools. So I think that it's a great time, a great generation for the young students to be encouraged, because they could make change and also look after themselves in this day and age.
Okay, I'll go back to what we talked yesterday. We found that communication is a key for environmental awareness building and to tackle with environmental challenges. And you also study in communication arts. And you are an actor, and you do a lot of communication as well. Do you think that communication can play a role in what aspect, especially for you, from your experience?
Of course, I think it is a big factor. Communications is such a key factor, and I think that personally, like I did my master's in social science at Mahidol University. So I did an environment side master's, but I did my bachelor in communication. So my job is to combine those two worlds
together.
Right. And right now, what I'm trying to do is, like, I started a YouTube channel, like maybe a year now, and I think that the idea of the YouTube channel was to be able to communicate environmental issues in a way that the modern generation are familiar with.
Yep.
Like I think the modern generation, the newer generation, the younger generation are not so familiar with documentaries as in our age when we would learn about nature it would be
in our age.
documentaries.
Yeah.
I think we're similar. I think we're
Okay.
same generation, yeah. So my point is that we're trying to communicate in a way that is easy. Like if I was to go and travel to maybe Kanchanaburi, for example,
Yep.
and I was to tell them that what the environmental issues there, only 30% would be content on that. You know, the next 70% has to be entertainment. Now I think that to get people to participate and get the message across, you have to focus more on entertainment than education, especially in these platforms. Because if you educate them, they're just going to get bored and they're just going to go away. You know, so we just have to find a tool to entertain
You
them.
have to sugarcoat the concept.
Right. We have
Yeah.
to kind of like brainwash them a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, like for them for the message to work. So like even little things like TikTok. Now you have a TikTok platform which allow, I think it's only 1 minute. Within 3 seconds, if you don't like it, they change the content. So you have to
fast.
think like a marketer, you know, from
Yeah.
companies like what agencies do is how do they sell products with what they have? And we have to think that, okay, we have to use those tools in raising awareness. So I really think that, of course, the channels that we are communicating is slowly changing, and we have to adapt to the younger generation if we want the message to be heard. And of course, myself as an actor, as a social status, as I have this social status, I think my followers and everything, like I think that, like I have a good amount of followers personally, and I think that it spreads messages well, and I think that it could inspire people, and I think that actors, celebrities, or people who have a good following are partly responsible with shaping the way that their followers think. So if you write something negative, there's going to be negative comments. You know, if you write something positive, there's going to be positive comments. So I really think that those platforms are very important in communicating environmental issues. If we want to go forward with sustainability and take it very seriously, it has to be the number one priority.
Oh, from your observation through EEC that you've created environmental camps and there are so many participants, and also according to your followers, when you post something or when you talk about environment, what are their feedback? And over the past 7 years, can you see any changes in like trends or their interest towards environment?
Yep, for sure. First of all, I see trends. People are doing more content about the environment, not necessarily conservation in the way that I do or in the way that conservationists would do. But I think that it's just using their own platforms to raise awareness in their own way. It doesn't mean that it has to be a hard message. Sometimes it's just a photo of like I was just with Nong Not, and I really like what she does.
Another
because
artist.
yeah, but her way is more like tourism and experience.
I think she also studied at Maidon with you.
I think she went to Chula. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not sure, but her way of communicating her projects like is very relatable to the younger generation. Like they want to be on long-tail boats, they want to go free diving, they want to see all these things and experience all these things and help the local people at the same time. I think that's such a relatable concept. And so yeah, the trends, people, more pages about Facebook, more now that society is more involved and the big corporates, the budgets, the financing and all that side starts to increase because now it's a tool to get people in. Once the private sector get involved, the message gets even wider. So I definitely see a trend, and I see that the knowledge, like before, we would have a dugong payun, but people would bring a picture of a manatee, which is completely different.
Oh, the tail is different.
It's a little different, yeah. So just like little things like that we've seen changes, and of course, like we've seen a lot of environmental events. Like we've had such great like for example, plastic pollution policies and rules and things have changed in department stores, for example. So yes, the trend is going like that, and I really do believe that it could only go up, but depending on the people working inside with how fast and will it be fast enough is the issue right now.
Okay. Lastly, I think according to what we talked, it's really inspirational. Okay.
Thank you.
And we are talking actually in front of the participants from APEC members across the world. Well, finally, if you would like to say, if you can say something to the viewers who are watching from across the globe, what they can do in their hometown, in their home country in order to make a change.
I think that first of all, that people in general have to. There's a lot of it's just me. What can I do? Like it's only one person. It's not going to make a big difference. There's a lot of that perception. I think that perception has to change first of all, and I think that one of the things you can definitely do is make sure that you're not part of the environmental problem. That's the first thing. I mean, that's the first thing I try to do. Like. Ever since I've been in this industry, I could tell you I don't litter anymore. I changed the way I live my life in small ways, not big ways, not tragic, not huge changes. So I think that is a big thing that you can do. And I also think that within your communities is also very important. And I just would like to say that the whole world is actually one world, you know? So there's no, like we always hear, there's no planet B, there's no spare. And as we can see right now, we are really going through an environmental crisis in so many different ways. The climate crisis that we're going through is predicted to be twice the size of the COVID crisis, and bigger than the climate crisis is the biodiversity collapse that we're going through right now. And it's such a big issue. And at the end of the day, like people like to think that, oh, you're doing it because you love animals, you love nature, but it actually really isn't that. It's actually more about the sustainability of the people, you know. And so we're trying to save people while we're doing all this. So everyone could make a difference in their own way if the intention and the heart is there. And just one last thing, if people are thinking, how do I start? Where can I start? I personally would always tell people to go back and look at the 17 Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, and that is a foundation for you. And to ask yourself, where are you most passionate? And you go down that direction.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sure that maybe right now the participants may have a lot of questions to ask you, but we will keep it for the Q&A session.
Okay.
From now, we will have 10 minutes break. Then we will come back with panelists. We're going to have panel discussion, followed by Q&A that you can ask Kun Alex and other panelists as well. Okay, so at this point, I have to say thank you so much for Kun Alex for sharing your experience and inspirations with us. And we will come back again after 10 minutes with the two panelists. Okay, ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดีครับ โอเค ขอบคุณครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ ขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติ เราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทย เราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพเอเปกปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกัน ขอบคุณค่ะ การแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเรา เราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกัน เรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลังAPEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะ
อีกอันนึงอาจารย์ถือไปแล้ว
สวัสดีค่ะขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติเราพร้อมต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทยเราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพ APEC ปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกันขอบคุณค่ะการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลังAPEC ได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียว และด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกัน เราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะ
เป็นfounder เป็นอะไรดี CEO เนอะคุยตั้งแต่ยังเรียนอยู่30 ปีแล้วเร็วมากOkay, I think we shall start. Now I would like to bring all of you back to the session, and from now we're going to have panel discussion with the title Learning to Transform for a Better Environment. Together with us, aside from Kun Alex Rendell that we just had a very inspiring talk before, I also I would like to introduce the two prestigious panelists who come to join us. And now I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the two panelists who will join us together with Kun Alex. The first one, she is a veteran environmental researcher, and she is the one who, I have to say that she's a mastermind of Chulalongkorn University Zero Waste project. Okay, now I would like to introduce Dr.Sujitra Vassanadumrongdee from Chulalongkorn University. สวัสดีครับ And then, well, the next one, I'm very close with him because actually I have known him since he was the university student at Chulalongkorn University. But right now, he is the CEO of TACT Social Consulting, doing a lots of activities, and most of them are related with environmental movement. I would like to introduce Mr. Chayuth Sakunkoo or Kun Mac. สวัสดีครับ And last but not least, together with us still, we still have Kun Alex Rendell together with us once again. สวัสดีครับ Okay, so we will have time until around 11:30 in Bangkok time, and then we're gonna have Q&A. So if you would like to ask our panelists, could you please write down or type your question or comment in the Zoom so that our staff will manage their comments and questions to show us so that we can share our idea. Okay, first of all, I would like to start with Dr.Sujitra, or I normally call Ajahn Cook. Okay, but before we start, I would like you to introduce yourself briefly and what are you doing exactly right now? What kind of research? What are things that you are currently interested right now?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to join this event. I'm really pleased to be here. Currently, I'm a policy researcher at Rendell Research Institute of Chulalongkorn University. My research focus is on waste management. Try to transform the society waste management to circular economy. So this is my goal right now.
Okay, so I would like to start the first round. Aside from introduction, what you're doing right now, I would like to ask you what are the challenges for the environmental challenges or environmental education. What is the most challenging and what can we do to make it better? Okay.
Before I present my presentation, I'll just share.
Yeah, you maybe It depends on you. Okay.
Okay, because I prepare PowerPoint
you
presentation
can start from PowerPoint first.
can stress the message clearer. So, because I prepare my presentation like into three sequence like this, and maybe some of my picture will answer your question.
Yeah. Okay.
What inspired me to make a change to like. So I concerned about unsustainable consumption, especially for us, for urban people who enjoy eating and throwing away garbage without feeling guilty on the waste that we just throw away. We don't care much where does it go. So, but it's end up here, and also we also have lack of sense of responsibility on waste. Alex does mention about not to litter, but I see the general people. In some cases, we found the problem of littering as got worse than before in the past. So I grew up with the magic eyes that creating a moral norm or ethic for us not to litter, but seeing the society right now. So I think that is quite serious issue. And it go to the mountain of the garbage like here, and we have seen the problem for a long time that the government couldn't solve it. And the biggest fire incident in Prakasa dump site 8 years ago raised awareness of the people of the government, then declare that waste is the national agenda. But 8 years passed, nothing changed much. I mean, in terms of our society or behavior. So I think it's that we need to do something more than before to solve the crisis. This is something that came up to my mind to do the zero waste initiative, and also linked with this the current situation of the COVID pandemic. So we have seen the rising amount of plastic waste from our consumption, and it's linked to the environment. Right? It causes marine plastic pollution, and it has some mental impact to the marine environment, and finally it's come to us like health impact in terms of microplastic contamination in food chain. So, and it also affects animals. Alex mentioned about the kid love animals. So we also try to convey the message also that if we don't have responsibility on our consumption, it might hurt animals and also hurt our environment. And finally, it will hurt our children at the end. So this is something. And for the government, we need to talk, or private sector, we need to talk about the waste impact on the economy itself as well. And it can affect the tourist area. So this is something that come to me, and I think that we should do something better than before. So I proposed the university to do the July Zero Waste Initiative, is a 5-year action plan for the first phase. And actually, the first year we got funding from the Ministry of Education. So very appreciate on the ministry support.
I think I was in the picture too.
Yeah. So yes. So although the Zero Waste Initiative is like established by researcher, it's kind of top-down planning, but we try to be more participatory approach, engage more stakeholder, especially for the youth to come. So empower. So we work also with TACT as well to empower the university student to take more action on this one. So this is the core team that. Also, you can see that we also engage many professors and also from faculty of communication arts. And we also think that communication is also really important. And this is the project that we also emphasize on the data and apply the 3R model concept. For when we talk about zero waste, so we have to link with the 3R, reduce, reuse, recycle. Because if we don't talk about 3R, many people think when we want to solve the waste problem, they jump to recycling. But it's not the sustainable solution. Actually, we have to aim for reduce first, then we go for reduce and recycle. So we have like 6 work plans like this. So it's quite big project. And you can see from here that the work plan 6, we have also the education. So we try to raise awareness of the student from the very early, like because we have Sathit Chula, it's like demonstration schools that we can link with the young student from the very young early childhood to the big student like undergraduate student. So before I ending my first round, so I would like to show you the short video clip that we want to raise awareness of the university student on this issue ค่ะ
ลำดับต่อไปจะเป็นการแสดงปาฐกถาพิเศษในหัวข้อ1ความฝันโดยดร.ลีผู้มีคุณูปการต่อสิ่งแวดล้อมไทยกราบเรียนเชิญค่ะ
สวัสดีนิสิตจุฬาที่รักทุกคนคุณจำผมได้ไหมผมไงผมที่ตัวเหม็นๆที่มันสกปรกโสโครกเป็นไอตัวที่คุณไม่อยากจะเข้าใกล้ผมยังจำความรู้สึกตอนที่พวกคุณเอาขยะมาเคลื่องมาปาใส่ผมได้ดีใช่ครับผมคือถังขยะโอเคคือโอเคผมก็รู้ว่ามันเป็นหน้าที่ของผมอยู่แล้วไงที่จะต้องคอยมาเป็นเหมือนกับถังขยะแบบว่ามารองรับอะไรที่มันหมดประโยชน์จากชีวิตคุณแล้วอะไรอย่างนั้นแต่คุณรู้ไหมว่าไอ้เวลาทุกครั้งที่เวลาคุณทิ้งขยะแล้วมันไม่ลงถังเนี่ยมันเจ็บปวดขนาดไหนเคยให้เกียรติกันบ้างไหมผู้มีหัวใจสาเหตุที่ผมต้องออกมาพูดวันนี้เนี่ยมันก็ไม่ได้มีอะไรมากผมแค่อยากจะบอกกับทุกคนว่าผมมีความฝันครับ I have a dream ผมฝันอยากจะเห็นพวกคุณเปลี่ยนมาใช้ถุงผ้าแทนที่จะหิ้วถุงก๊อบแก๊บอยากเห็นคุณพกกระติกน้ำแทนที่จะใช้แก้วพลาสติกฝันอยากเห็นคุณหิ้วปิ่นโตแล้วเวลาไปซื้ออาหารก็บอกกับแม่ค้าว่าขอข้าวไซส์นะคะฝันอยากเห็นเวลาคุณกินข้าวก็กินซะจนเกลี้ยงจานคุณคงสงสัยนะครับว่าถังขยะอย่างผมเนี่ยมันจะมาพูดมันจะน่องอยู่มันจะนออะไรนักหนาแต่ว่าผมก็ไม่สนใจอะไรทั้งนั้นนะครับเพราะว่าผมมีความเชื่อครับเชื่อว่าพวกคุณจะทำให้ฝันของผมเป็นจริงได้เพราะสิ่งที่เป็นหนึ่งความฝันอันสูงสุดของผมก็คือจุฬาลงกรณ์มหาวิทยาลัยของเราจะมีขยะเป็นศูนย์และเมื่อไม่มีขยะก็ไม่จำเป็นต้องมีพวกผมอีกต่อไปลาก่อนครับทุกคนลาไปไหนแล้วจะบ้าหรือเปล่ามันลาไม่ได้มันจะเป็นไปได้ยังไงไม่มีขยะไม่มีถังขยะแล้วไปทิ้งไปไหนผมรู้คุณคิดอย่างนี้อยู่ใช่ไหมล่ะใช่ครับผมเข้าใจดีผมรู้มันเป็นไปไม่ได้อยู่แล้วครับคือยังไงคนเราใช้ชีวิตมันก็ต้องมีขยะกันบ้างใช่ไหม แต่ผมเนี่ยอยากให้คุณลองพยายามที่จะไม่สร้างขยะดูสักนิด แล้วสุดท้ายถ้าคุณพยายามจนถึงที่สุดแล้ว ก็ขอให้คุณรู้ไว้หนึ่งอย่างครับ ว่าสุดท้าย คุณจะยังมีผมและเพื่อนๆที่จะรอรับขยะจากคุณอยู่เสมอ ผมขอแค่นี้แหละครับ ให้ปัญหาเรื่องขยะมันจบที่รุ่นเราเถอะครับ
So touched. I want to cry. Okay. Okay, well, that's really interesting. Is it like the video clip open for Chulalongkorn University students for like the orientation day or something?
Yes, we intend to do that and to show that to the first year student.
And how was the reaction?
I think they accept the policy and try to adapt themselves well. I think most not all resistance maybe come from old people or old generation more than the young generation.
Okay, since you touch on this issue, actually, I would like to recall to the first day. I think among places in Thailand, I think Chulalongkorn University was the first place that asked 7-Eleven in the university to pay if you would like to get the single-use plastic bag. Okay, I think like 4 years before, how many years before? I think that was the very, very first time in this country that you have to pay if you would like to get a single-use plastic bag, which is not like a part of our culture before.
Yeah.
And I heard that like at the beginning, you got some resistance and complaints,
some
right?
Complaint, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but for students, not so much. But as I mentioned, there are some complaint from other people or like Ajahn
from
or
the professor and staff,
or
right?
visitor, something like that. They are not familiar with the new rules that we apply to the convenience stores in the campus. But we try to challenge the norm that giving free plastic bag, but try the new instrument we call plastic bag charging that have been used in many countries around the world, and it proved that is very effective tools to reduce plastic bags by nudging. We call nudge.
Nudge, nudge.
So we just try that, and it's worked, and it could reduce the amount of plastic bag in July for like almost 90%.
Yeah. It was impressive. I think because I asked you and you showed me the statistic data, and it was impressive. And I think Chulalongkorn University is a trailblazer in this policy. And right now, this become common in Thailand right now that you have to pay when you want to get single-use plastic bag everywhere, every convenience stores and department stores in Thailand, which is really good. Okay, thank you so much. That's all for your presentation in the first round, right? Okay, then I would like to ask Kun Mak the same question. I would like to rephrase it to make it easier. From your perspective, what is the most challenging point for environmental education? I think that's going to be easier. Okay.
The most challenging for environmental education, I think, is that why we have to study this. Because everyone wants to start with why. Okay, they started math because they want to go to university. They study English because they want to get the great job with a higher pay. But why they have to study environment? It's not have any benefit to them maybe. But because the challenge might be the whole system that we have to tell them at the first day, at the very early day on the kindergarten, on the primary school, that how important of the world that's gonna be changed from our impact that we do from littering our waste and maybe overuse our energy consumptions. So maybe I will go like Ajahn Cook that.
You also prepare your presentation, right? Okay.
Right, to sum up more about my work. Actually, my English math.
Yeah. Actually, you can answer my question through what are you doing right now. I think that's going to be solid.
Sure.
Okay. Shall we go to your presentation?
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Okay, while we are waiting for your presentation, I have to inform the participants that actually, Kun Mac also graduated from Faculty of Engineering at our university as well.
Yes.
Okay, but at that time, well, actually, we all related to Tonga University. Okay, ready. So, shall we start with your presentation?
Okay, sure. To introduce myself again, I'm Max from the TACT Social Consulting. Actually, right now I'm the CEO and co-founders. So TACT have a little bit tagline called the Empowering Youth to Create the Value-Based Sustainabilities. So we come up with the belief that youth want to take action, but I think many youth don't know how to do that or don't know where to do that. So TACT would be like the space to bring them to be the communities for them to help them accelerate the values of the sustainabilities. So our model see the opportunity in the business aspect as the in our world right now, the sustainability is only not the social things that you if you have free time, if you have the budget. So you put in the social sector, but it's a must for the sustainability trends. So the investor might select the company that value the ESG to invest in, and the world are changing. The climate action can't wait. So Thailand have set the goal to be the carbon neutral by 2050. So this is the action of the corporates and the country, but the industry pain point right now that I have maybe talk and discuss with many corporates is the human resource. Maybe who's gonna come to lead the change, who are in this career path. So I think if TACT could be like the sustainability workforce preparation, if we be like the connectors between the youth to develop the skills and to learn more about the SDG and to work on this sector to help our country and nation or maybe the regions to accelerate the sustainability on the real world. So it might be the vision of TACT. So as of now, we run our company as, okay, why am my slides? Okay, got it. So we act like the consult and implementing firms that we have corporate and organization as our customers, and we talk with them to select the topics. So we follow the ESG framework. So we have a project about the environment and the social, and the issue in the social is the education and to support the local SME. And every project we will have the TACT Youth Network as the implementer. They will join us as a project manager, join us as a project associate, join us as volunteers in many roles, as a camp facilitators, as an action, as a graphic designers. We have many roles for them to contribute to the sustainabilities. And yes, then we will create some projects that have some social impact with a measurable outcome. For example of our practice about the social impact project is like TACT Camp, Youth Development Camp Model. This one maybe I have to Ajahn at the very first day that I have done the project like this. The first project that TACT come up with is the growth mindset development. We see that in the rural high school student in Thailand, we did not let them to be who they want to be. We only have only one type of success, to be the doctor, to be an engineer. So we explore the concept growth mindset and bring the university students to be their youth buddy, help them explore their skill and interest, help them set the goal and execute what they want. And yeah, maybe every student that join our program will select the public speaking, select the e-commerce, select the music, art, and many things that they want. And we have the coach for them to let them do that. And the key point is let them have some small achievement and give the compliments. So this circle will run continuously. And after our program, maybe 2 or 3 months, they can still have that growth mindset to apply for another thing that they will do in the futures. And we also add on and improve this model where should I put it in? Okay, into the career exploration camp, because if they can have more confidence, this one we add on our model to make the real careers that are gonna do that are doing that career to meet them as a like the round table event. So maybe in the rural student, they don't think that they can do more than the senior, than the adult, their parents do. But this one can introduce them the opportunity for the future. Like they can open the shop online, they can do the e-commerce, they can do the graphic websites. It's a lot of technology related career that they can do right now in the high school or in the university. So this one is kind of the education model for TACT. And another model that we always do is, okay, I have to wait a little bit. Yeah, this one is case competition model. The case competition is, as you may know, that the university student always join the case competition, like the branding competition. So TACT will organize the social case competition. This one we partner with C Thailand and Shopee to let the student to work closely with the Thai SME, 25 Thai SME with 25 team of students, and help them accelerate the sales and marketing strategy on the Shopee platform. By this, we can have the collaboration with Shopee to send the mentor and the training for our students. So it's a two-way benefit. The first way is to equip the digital skill for the SME to go online, and for the other way, we can also improve the digital skill for our students also. Why the clicker don't work? Okay, this one is also one of the social case competition that at that time we have an area called Bangkok. It's nearby Bangkok, and they have a lot of waste management problems. So we opened the challenge called Waste Runner 100-Day Challenge to at this event.
I was there too.
Yes, I invited Sajjasada to be like the moderator and the MC too at the event. Okay, and at that event, we have many youth, maybe over 100 team of youth to apply for the proposal, to send the proposal and suggest us for many new innovation to help to manage waste on the area, such as to do the food waste management, to do the zero waste sustainable tourism trip, to do the trash collecting platform, and many more. And this kind of project can raise a lot of awareness and learning toward the youth, because they have to think innovatively. They can go through our process to training the design thinking concept to face the real problem on the area and to come up with some innovation. That some innovation might not be used in the area, but the learning will still stick to it to them after the program. And the campaign, we also do the Waste This Way. This one, we collaborate with two universities, Chulalongkorn and Thammasat University, to transform the traditional football badge from two universities to be the green event. Sakunkoo is my advisor since then to make maybe 20 or 30,000 people that come to that event to segregate waste correctly, to manage that waste on the event, to go to the right place. So that is the impact of our work then. Okay, so we use the concept reduce, substitute, and segregation. So we totally reduce the carbon emission equivalent is 18 tons, and we have recycled almost 5 tons of waste on that day, and maybe upcycling many of type of waste in the event to be more useful. This one also, and this one is also the upcoming one that we will bring some of youth that interest in the environmental issue to grow up the seagrass. I think this is the key major factors in our shore to collect the carbon captures. Okay, I think after all the campaign and event that we have engaged with youth, Sanjay, we have seen a lot of opportunity to do more than event-based. So we create the event to educate people, educate youth, but we kind of think that how we can leverage more power of the youth to do deeper, to create more impact. So we spin off the TACT Green Consulting to be like the sustainability partner for our corporate customer to help them transform the environmental successfully. So our first model is like green event management that who want to do the event green, we can have the youth leading transformation team that can send to consult with them, okay, what's your waste profile, how many waste you can generate on that event, how you can manage. We can connect them with the suppliers, we can measure the impact for them. We also have the green area consulting service also the previous one is the event, but this one is a campaign. We work with the Bangkok Zero Waste Park to transform the Benjasiri Park to be the green event, to be the green area. So we do the workshop with the operators at the park. We design the new experience design trash bin that is easier to segregate the waste, and we put our youth agents to be on the park to educate the club around there, the basketball club, the skateboard club, the people who go to picnic. Our youth will go and maybe share some story and some practice that is the right practice to segregate the waste at the public park. And that's all of my version, Jade. And to sum up the challenge is that for the first part, I do the event, everyone want to join. But for this part, if it more than the event, but it's going to be the carrier. What carrier that they should do as an implementer to make the environmental issues better? I think that's my answer.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, actually, when I look at what you are doing, it's pretty similar to what Kun Alex have done as well. But Kun Alex already explained what you have done so far in the first section already. So I would like to jump to the question that I asked you, like according to your experience through EEC, through environmental activities, what are the most challenging points for doing environmental activities and learning?
First of all, for us, I think human resource is very difficult because it's a model. I'm sure that we would all agree that all our models require, it's quite dependent on the people educating, the people teaching, the facilitators within the area, because if you want to engage youth, it's not just about the teacher, it's about the environment that they're in as well. So to be able to create that environment, you need people with the experience and the knowledge of empowering the youth. And I think that's a very difficult thing that we're going through right now. We don't really have a problem with people coming on the camps, but we're trying to find ways to have the right person teaching the right thing in the right location. So our number one problem is people, for sure. I have to go on almost all the camps.
Yourself?
And it's very, very tiring for me because I still have to go to Gong Thai, to the film
to
set.
shooting.
So that's our number one challenge. Our second challenge is, of course, safety. Because at the end of the day, safety is our number one priority. If we're taking toddlers, 3.5 years old, we're taking 10 years old going scuba diving, you really have to know what you're doing, and you really cannot be careless in many areas. So it's a very high intensity operation that we're going through. Like we have camps every week, almost every week. Sometimes we have 50, 60 group size, and it is just a very, very energy
consumption.
It's a very exhausting operation, and now that is the problem that we're going through. That's internally, and that's in terms of operation. But I think on a bigger scale, I think that one of the obstacles that we have is I see it as activities that lead eventually to sustainability in many, many different ways. But I think that the perception right now of the general public or the people that come is that it's fun. Of course, it's fun. They want to let their kids learn like this, whether it's through residentials or anything. But I don't think many people see it as one of the methods to achieve sustainability in many, many different ways. Not enough, I think. And I think that from my experience traveling in conferences similar to this and speaking to many different places, like you see a lot of funding, a lot of investment, a lot of emphasis on so many different kinds of projects, whether it's innovation, whether it's technology, architect, sustainable financing, solar cells, but very, very little, almost like close to zero, is on environmental education, you know. And I really, really think that if we could find a way to say, hey, this is a long-term way for sustainability, although it might take 10, 20 years, we have to start now. Because I believe that we could do a lot of activities that are solving the problem at the end. But if you want to solve it at the beginning, it's solving at the person. And to solve the person, it's environmental education is what we are doing. So I think that the world should implement it more on a, I would say, global level, on a policy level, on a legislation level, or whatever it is, to actually take environmental education as serious as they take technological innovations, because now they really, I feel that the world are really dependent on advancing technology for a better future. But I think that education is something that we really need to bring it up a little bit more.
Bring it up, okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, just like what Kun Alex mentioned earlier, that right now maybe we focus on COVID-19 prevention, but actually don't forget that environmental problems are growing like every day, and even more seriously, like climate change, you know, like actually we talk less about this, but actually we're getting hotter and hotter, and the weather not in Thailand only, but around the world is more extreme. So actually if we don't do it, don't do anything right now, it's going to be too late. Actually, it's a little bit too late already. Right. Okay. Now I would like to move to the second round by asking you, in your opinion, what are the important changes that do you think that this is very crucial, very important to make the situation better? Okay. So start with Ajahn Kuk, please.
Okay. So maybe I'm quite new to the environmental education, but I'm very interested in this one. And when I read some handbooks, they mention about head, heart, hand. So I really agree with that. We need, but for me, for myself, not starting from head, but from heart first, you need to have some kind of passion. You have to be aware of the problem first. If you have some passionate, then you will you will open your eyes, and then you will look through the knowledge, information that how to solve the problem. So, and then you use hand to take more action. So this is one thing that I really want to the youth, and I think all generation to look into the environmental education and then support. And let the youth to expose to the problem, let them have a free mindset to think and to try to find solution, and then support them for the action that they propose. Okay, maybe the first day, maybe they think only one action, small, simple action is okay, you can support. And then you can bring them to think more deeper and broader concept. So my presentation right now is just one thing that we want to raise awareness first, and then we tried, as Alex mentioned, about changing the environment, at least in the campus, to have kind of zero waste social norm that we try to create in the campus, provide more knowledge. And next for that, we link with the communication campaign, educational campaign, every channel that we could, and Yes, an educational booth and roadshow that we reach out to small kids and also the university students that we try to work on. And this is one activity that we can do it. I mean, for trash collection activity, you can do it anywhere, everywhere you can do it. And it's a kind of a tool to raise awareness. I didn't mean that waste collection or trash collection is the solution to the waste problem. But I think it's kind of awareness raising tool for those who join the activities. So we organize this one, and the students who come, they just saw the PR and the flyer, and they just come. They don't know they don't know as much, but they come and join us. And we can draw also a participation from Pivin motorcycle taxi driver that work next to the campus to join the activity as well.
That's lovely. Okay.
And you can see my 2 kids over there
I saw.
to join. So I always bring my kids to join the activity that I do as well. And we work with school, and we got the opportunity to work with Sathit Jula Primary School to take some students to the beach, the Bang San Beach, to correct some the marine debris and then observe the microplastic contamination in the sand using the smart lens. So we combine the technology with our zero waste purpose. And like kind of educational board on the microplastic. This is one organized by the librarian at school themselves, not by us. So we think that if we can raise awareness of the community and they see the value, they can extend and expand to teach the student further. We also developed a storybook on what is in the sea, raise awareness on the plastic pollution, marine plastic pollution. Alex can use this one as well to convey message to toddlers because they love storybook and it's bilingual. Okay. So, and we also have the Zero Waste School manual based on our experience to expand. So from my work right now, I try to we settle a bit in the campus itself for the zero waste policy and the environment. Now we in a phase of scaling up to the society. So we try to work with the Ministry of Education to promote this one. Also, Ajahn is in this event as well.
I involve a lot.
And you can see in this picture of the youth. We have seen in Thailand, we have seen the more active action from the international school students, right?
Yep.
This one.
I remember the girl. It's people call her Thailand's Greta Thunberg, right?
Lily, Lily, yes. And for myself, I try to make change for the policy level because I think that only raising awareness is not enough. You need policy. You need government support in every action. So we need to change from the local and national level. So this is my task. And come to this session that we talk about youth. And I think we can divide into 3 levels. For individual levels, like Alex mentioned about doing some little thing, just try to be environmental friendly. Changing just small consumption or your pattern of consumption is also good for the environment. Try to practice 3R at home or try to do home composting to separate food waste to do small composting. So this one I think is help the environment quite a lot. But then further than that, you can go for the community level, changing your school or campus. You can support the zero waste program at the campus or your office if you are already in workforce. So you can go for the green office. For national level, go after than that, join my movement for the waste reform. Now try to learn more policy instruments and propose a very concrete, practical solution for the country. This is something that youth can do. I really admire the Singapore ways of promoting public participation in the policy making decision. So they create a NEA, National Environmental Agency. They create a citizens work group, and then they have the problem of the excessive consumption of disposable or like single-use plastic, and then they call for those who want to find solution for the country. And then they organize the activity. This is what I want to share with the Ministry of Education as well. So they call for volunteers who want to find solution for the country, help the government. And then they create a section that they recruit people from different background, different age and profession come together. And then they come discussion, they invite resource persons. Like today, we invite like me as a resource person for zero waste and TACT for like education for youth. So they invite some resource person to get deep dive into the problem and the solution. And then the work group come and brainstorm the solution. And then they create a criteria to get, because they may come with like 100 solutions, so they come with like prioritization of the policy recommendation. And then the NEA organize the section for that, for them to present prioritize recommendation for X recommendation, and then they respond. And then support, the NEA provide some funding for the youth to take more action out of their recommendation. It's like they call co-delivery. So I think it's a really good example of the thing that the government can support youth to take action, more action meaningfully and usefully, and it's applicable. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Ajanku, before we move to Kun Mak, I would like to ask you more, because you focus on the research on policies, right? So, well, talking about policies and policymaker, from my observation, like if we look at policy making and kind of like politics in other countries, it's normally, environmental issues normally politicized. Like we always see it normally in the top agendas when they have like presidential debate, you know, or election, you know, like normally people also vote according to their environmental policies. But in Thailand, we rarely see this kind of thing. And actually, for your information, we're going to have Bangkok Metropolitan
the
governor
election
soon. But I also observe like very few policies on environmental issues as well. So how can we politicize environmental issues in
now
Thailand?
we are doing it. If you have seen the movement of Earth Tone, I think Earth Tone should invite Alex to join. It complies like Look Off, Cherry, Kun Cherry, like influencer like Wanna Singh. They join the movement, create a group, and we should invite TACT to come as well. So, but we have seen the changing trend of the candidates, that now they have more clearer environmental policy. And now this week we just start about questioning the candidate on the waste problem in Bangkok. And then we invite all candidates to come and answer, and what are your policy to deal with this problem. So we have got response from several major candidates. So this is a good sign that now society is changing, and we have seen the interest of the people, of the Bangkok people on this issue as well. So we can use the social media to make a change.
Okay, hopefully we can see more debates on environmental issues in local and national level. Okay, thank you so much. And then I would like to move to Kun Mak. Okay, the same question.
The similar question is like the challenge on.
Well, for this one, I would like to ask you, like, what kind of changes is important for making the situation better?
This whole situation, right? The environment as a whole.
In general.
I think today we are on the Youth Development Forum, right?
Yep.
So I think from the youth perspective, we can do the two major change. The first one is if we can implant the environmental mindset in all the youth in the next the future generation. Imagine that every school, every university, everyone that born after this will aware more about our world, our environment, our waste management practice, and know all about this effect. Okay, I think this will have a major change in the business sectors because the customer already know. Because I'm gonna talk about the real world situation that drive within the capitalism. I think the big corporates want to make more profits. The sustainability is a concept that will integrate with how the big corporate will do their business in the near futures. So if the consumer change, if our whole generation, like Ajahn Kuk and Ajahn Jet said that the no plastic bag is the similar and is the usually our everyday life now in Thailand. If we talk about this like 10 years ago, well, no way, nobody will do that. But
unimaginable.
Yes, unimaginable. But the world are gonna change things because the consumers. So the first thing that the youth can do is to wipe out this generation thought and select to support the brand and the products that will environmental friendly. And the second is the human resource, as I said, because right now I'm taking the online course called the Sustainable Business Strategies at the Harvard Business School online course, and that is a good lesson there that they said that if we want to make a real impact in this topic, we have to start the wheel of change. Wheel of change is not mean the individual firms, but all firms to do it together. And how to do that is we need the leaders with the purpose driven. The purpose driven is mean you don't you can't just move one directors from innovation department with no mindset about this to do the sustainabilities, because it's not real success. If you want to drive the change, you have to really stick into it and have a passion to drive it. So you can communicate the passion, you can make the partnership, you can make this possible. So how we can build this more the sustainable with purpose driven. So I think the youth can have I really agree with Alex's point of view that the government have to invest more about the human resource, about the project to educate them, to incubate them, to make them face the real problems. And maybe we're gonna have some leader with the purpose driven more in the near futures. And that guys are gonna be in the government, gonna be in the big corporates, and gonna drive the real change. That is the answer for your question.
Okay, thank you so much. Since I asked Ajahn Kuk how can we get policymakers involved, and Ajahn Kuk already mentioned, then according to TACT experience, I think how can we make public sector involved? How can we make environmental issues sexy for them and profitable for them?
Actually, right now, this is very sexy for the corporate.
Right now.
Actually, for the corporate that have to negotiate with the global, because I think the APEC theme for this year and in the US, in the Europe,
it's global issue.
It's a common issue that we have to transform the business toward the sustainability.
So we don't need to make it more sexier. It's
yes.
sexy enough. Yeah.
But you know. If you look in our stock exchange of Thailand, you have you see a lot of forums, a lot of movement in one report. The report that every business have to declare for the investor every year. They have some sector called as a sustainability to declare. But I think for the current situation right now, is everyone known, everyone aware. But what should I do? What should I start first? It's why it's a lot expensive to do this, because the major barrier for the corporate right now is they already do aware, but how much
don't know
what
what to
don't know what to do. So I think the youth and the startup like me and in my industry is the key major role in this to complement the pictures, because if we have the youth that want to do and make real change and we can connect with the budget. I think they already have the budget for the corporate and for the government. But I think to be more precise on the situation, many corporates do, but to make them change from the PR aspect and brand aspect to be the real impact is not easy, because even the top leader join the seminar and know the global situation, but the organization structure are still the same. They have CSR, they have PR, they have CSR under the PR, they have CSR under the HR. So it's like, yeah, we engage with our employees and go to plant some forest, and it's the how they use the budget is the same. So I think I want to see the change in the near 4 or 5 years later than this. Would you want to add on?
Yes. When you talk about CSR, right now my network advocating for EPR, transforming from CSR to EPR, extended producer responsibility. So that's the thing that the producers, and including retailers and all business sector, will be responsible all the products that they produce or product and service throughout the life cycle of the products. So they have to think how to reduce the environmental impacts since the production phase, retail phase, and distribution phase, and to the consumption and post-consumption phase. So this is one thing that I try to call for the EPR movement in Thailand. Like in other countries, they have the EPR laws, but we don't have it. So we need to rely at the moment for the voluntary EPR.
Again, go back to policy. Okay. Well, but then to extend from what you already mentioned, and maybe Kun Alex can share your idea as well. Right now, as we can see that the global trends changing now, environmental issues is not like marginalized anymore. It's in the core value of country and private sector. However, I think the challenging point is how can we shift the mindset of the private sector to look at the environmental issues as a tool for PR or for corporate for CSR, right? Or even people talk about greenwash, right? How can we make it more sustainable and it's not just only a tool for PR, marketing tool, or greenwash? What do you think?
For me, it's the view of change as I studied from Harvard. We have to engage all the stakeholders. If we have the more consumer that aware more about the sustainabilities, if we have the government that Ajahn Cook are working on it, about we have to put the carrot and sticks. Maybe the government have to put the carbon tax, anything that can regulate more about the corporate. And another way is to make the consumer aware more about this. So that's the role of youth that we can call out and make our country know that our generation don't support the corporate that will leave the environment as a small thing, but will support only the environmental friendly companies. So I think only customer is not enough. Only government is not enough. I think we have to move all the stakeholders together toward the same goal. And right now, you will see the big corporate in set 50s are excited about this and have a budget to this because they have to contact with the national brands. They have to export their products. They have to negotiate with the global sectors. But you will see the set 700. They're not. They're also in the PR because it's not affect them right now. But if you want to excite, to accelerate them, I think we have to show them the picture of the US maybe 10 years ago, because in Thailand it's not the national agenda. But if the world gonna change, the consumer will change, the resource will run out of the resource. If they can see the consequence of their action, and maybe they can adapt better.
Okay, thank you. Ajahn Cook would like to add something.
Yeah, to make them seriously on the environment, voluntary is the first thing that we can ask them, but we cannot make our business sector or our producers or our companies to do the good thing for the environment because they will concern more on the cost, right?
Yes.
So the policy is really important to step in and create the new norm. I'm mentioning about the EPR is the new norm for the producer or the company that we need to do something better for the environment, come together and help improve working with the stakeholder in the value chain. So this is the concept of EPR. And maybe I want to share you also for the circular economy or sustainable products. Right now, EU is drafting a new law on the Sustainable Product Initiative.
Yep.
They are trying to make them, they declare that they want a sustainable product as a norm, a new norm. By applying the law across the board, they want to shape at least to take the leading role of European market.
Yep.
Create a producer and consumer to go this direction. And we are the exporter, we are OEM, right? Producing product. So we have to follow the global rules, new rules. So now CE is not voluntary anymore. It's mandatory by the leading market. So whether business sector aware of this one, and we as a consumer aware or not, so it also depends on everyone. Yeah, it's there already.
Yeah.
So we need to come and think faster than before.
Okay, thank you so much. Then I would like to ask Kun
Sure.
Anthony, and maybe we can go back to the question I asked you as well. Like, what is the most important change to make the situation better? Okay.
Well, I think my answer may answer both questions. I think adding on to what Dan and Max has just said earlier, I think that right now, because I work a lot with the private sector, of course, because as an actor, you of course the thing that I see is a big difference between the private sector and the government sector is the purpose or the objective of that job, and I happen to be fortunate enough to work with both of them. So of course, that the government sector will be more about impacts. Will be about more making change because, of course, the government's job is to look after people, right? And the private sector is, of course, is profit-driven. It's sales-driven, which I understand that. And in the real world, that's completely fine because it's the world of business. And, I've worked with them since I was very young. And a lot of the times where projects come to us, we have this mindset that, I try to tell my team that to have this mindset that, okay, of course, they're going to ask us to find an incentive back to their sales one way or another. Of course, if they're going to invest their marketing in us, they're going to have to expect some sort of something back. So I tell them that we just have to make sure that whatever we're doing, we are making an impact in our way. And it's okay for them to make sales. We believe so. And to be completely honest, the private sector, they're big marketers, big budgets marketers. They work with the greatest agencies in the country, and the agencies have the know-how to spread messages, to spread campaigns, to put it on billboards. They know how to market YouTube, Facebook, all social media. They know everything. They have the budget and they have the know because they've been doing that for years. And I like to see it as we are kind of piggybacking their know-how, So I think that the government sector, at the same time, they have great impacts. They have great content. They have great people working very hard, but they're lacking the know-how to spread the message in certain areas. So I think that the two worlds should combine a little bit more and use the know-hows of one another to make an impact. And I think that from working with both sectors, there are pros and cons working with both. But if you think that, going back to the question, if we were to work with them and we say, okay, we're gonna put your product in one of our activities for you to market your product, but make sure that our activities, we get full authority of how we want to educate them. So it's kind of like a win-win situation in my perspective. And I think that this model could be replicated in many, many different areas, and even maybe on a policy and on a policy level for the government sector and the private sector to work more. And now the government sector also has certain requirements and certain rules which make it a little challenging for them to work to the private sector. For example, EEC is a company. People may see it as a non-profit. It's not a non-profit. It's a social enterprise We simply think that making profits to grow the organization, and we think that if we can grow, then our projects can go wider. So, but a lot of the reason that we have to get funded mostly by partnerships with the private sector is because the government sector have obstacles. Certain places are not allowed to work with the private sector, with us. You know, even no matter how much they love us, they have rules where they can only go to nonprofits. And you know, there's all these different rules that I think that is like, it makes it very bureaucratic in a way that that it takes too much time in certain areas, you know. So I just think that if we could find a way to like lessen the obstacles and work together and live off leverage from one another, it would be a great impact.
To make it leaner, you know, like, okay, less complicated. Okay, well, before we move to our next question, I would like to ask the participants, if you have any questions or comments, could you please put it down? So could you please like write it down so that we can gather the comments and questions to ask our panelists. Okay, right now I would like to contextualize to something tangible, especially for participants. Then they join us since yesterday and today as well. I think they have heard a lot from the panelists and speakers. If you would like to share or give them suggestion, like what can they do in their home country to make a start, like a good start, like from what they have heard from the panelists, then what should they do in order to make a change or make the start? Maybe start from Kun Alex first.
Sure. I just think that starting with yourself is best, starting with your family is best, and starting with the people around you, like as Ajahn had mentioned, like practices at home, implementing the 3 R's to your lifestyle, just making a change. And I think that already is quite a big change. Like, let's not forget that all our pipes end up to the same river and go to the same ocean, you know, so we're all one. And if one person is making a change and everyone makes a change, the impacts are huge. So it really just starts with yourself.
Okay, thank you. Ajahn Kuk.
Yes, I think the first step start with yourself and your family. And also I want to add on Alex, as I have got some complaint from the young generation or the youth that they want to reduce or segregate waste at home, but the old people, the parents, they don't do. So have some a little conflicts in the home at home.
Or even they
like
believe
that
like no, even their sort their garbages like separately. Then at the end it will be combined together.
Yeah, and actually to answer your question before, one of the biggest obstacles is that mostly when it comes to anything sustainable, it's more work for someone else, you know? So that's very difficult. Like, I'm sure like the parents, it's very difficult to change.
They are familiar with the old habit of like mixing waste together. So this is something that kind of barrier for the youth to make change, a small change as well. But we need to support them in everywhere that we can. I think the first thing that we can suggest them to do a small change, and then find supporter and find friends, kind of group support, and to create a kind of movement. I really admire like buy plastic bag in Bali, right? The 2 sisters, the 2 girls, they just start from like, they see the problem of the plastic bag in Bali, and then they want to make a change, starting from themselves and friends, then go to talk to the governor of Bali to create a plastic bag ban policy, and they could do that. So I think it is a kind of example of the youth that can make a real change.
Okay, thank you. Kun Mac ครับ
Okay, agreed with the point of view that start from themselves at home, and to add on from that, I think I really stress from this topic for today's forum that I believe that to make the real change is have to be the real career and real world execution, because right now in the industry we have a lot of budget come in the sustainability and ESG. We have a lot of initiative that waiting for some people to change. I think not only in Thailand but all around the world. So if you are interested in this issue, maybe prepare the skills and as our topic for today, Voice of Youth, Developing Competencies and Skills for Better Environment and Brighter Futures. Yes, I think this kind of the one that I would like to say, that develop the competency and skills, learn more about the carbon and the emission things, the technology related to reduce it, the way to manage the waste more, make yourself ready, and maybe as Sakunkoo said, that gather up with the team, find some grant, make us do the startup, do the career. I think if we have more people come in, the talent people come in this industry, it will help to drive a lot of change in the near futures.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions from the floor? No? Okay. Well, actually, I spare some time for the question. And actually, yesterday we got a lot of questions. So that's why we like spare time at the end. Any messages from the organizer to the participants that you would like to inform them? Okay, there's no comments from the floor. Then, okay, there's one. Okay, just only saying thank you for the invitation from the Philippines.
I think our messages were very clear.
Yeah. I saw it. This is the one, right, from the Philippines, right? Oh, from Mexico, sorry. Okay.
From Mexico.
Oh, wow. We have participants from, actually we have participants from across the world. You know, we have Mexico, Malaysia, New Zealand, Australia, a lot. Okay. Anyone want to say something right now? Oh, very clear. Yeah. This is very clear, very responsive. Very clear and inspiring messages. Hope to replicate your level of impact in my own country one day from Australia. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's very nice, because I really think that like conferences in this sort of manner is an inspiring platform for people to make impacts in their own way. Like not necessarily they have to do it in the way that we've done it, but I think that maybe it just, you know, sparkles a small idea and one change, it makes it very worth it to be able to be part of that, you know?
Yep. Okay.
I really agree with Alex, because me used to be the one who listened to this kind of forums. And
you got inspired.
Yeah, I got inspired by your job is great, and I want to be there and doing the impact like them.
Well, I'm talking about this. Maybe I would like to ask Kun Mac further, because actually I have known Kun Mac since you was university student at Chulalongkorn University. Then how could you keep growing, you know, like from that day, you know, from a university student to what you're doing right now?
I think the challenge to make the vision on that day to can still run the company.
Ya me presenté. A ver cómo le hacemos.
Okay.
The organizer, can you mute the participant first? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
I think the most challenge is the team. I think I got a good team and co-founders. Maybe Sakunkoo know many of them, and because I don't do it alone. I have my co-founders, and apart from co-founders, I have a lot of senior and professor that support me, like Sakunkoo and many more. That Max, your vision to bring the youth to take action on this sustainability is a really good one. I want to make this happen. So I think my journey along the 4 years is impressive journey. Because of everyone that support me. If I came to professor, came to corporate, came to ask for the advice, I will got a warm welcome and the good suggestion back, because of everyone want this vision to happen. As I always said with many of the junior university students that, P-Mac, why don't you go to do the job in the corporate to be a consultant? But I told them that this career really support me because I learn a lot and I can grow the network a lot to make me be a better person. Yeah. So to wrap up, the answer is I think the environment around me, the people who support with the good vision.
I think Ajahn Koo already mentioned this, that you may have to start with like-minded people.
Yeah.
You have to find them and then gather them. And then luckily you can find supporters, university, you can find professors who support you as well. Okay, and how about Kun Alex at the beginning, how did you start? I mean, well, just like what you mentioned that HR and like people are very important. How can you find someone who can support you?
I just felt at the time, like I was 25 years old at the time, and I just felt that if we get step 1 done, step 2, step 3 will follow. That was my
very
mindset.
Positive.
Because I just thought like people have many. It's like I remember Quentin Tarantino, the filmmaker. He gave an advice of how to make films, and he said, go out, buy a camera, and try making a film. So the point is that do it.
Just do it.
Just do it and learn. Trial error is the best lesson for me. You know, experience and making mistakes is part of growth.
Learning.
It's part of learning. So for me, I'm never really embarrassed to say when a mistake is made or improvements need to be made. And I think that the biggest problem, people have good ideas, but you just have to start. And for me, EEC started with a logo. Step 1 was get that logo. If that logo is there, you have to do it. So
it
that was
forced you
step.
to do it.
Yeah, it forced me to do it. But that first move to do is the hardest, I think.
Yeah, okay, thank you. We've got one question. Please share some experiences on youth engagement in policy formation and how democratic culture and atmosphere support more significant roles of youth to environmental movement. Maybe I would, since it start with, I saw the policy as a keyword, so I have to give the microphone to Dr. Cook.
Actually, I'm not engaged much on the youth engagement on the policy formulation because I'm not youth anymore, but I'm the advocate for the policy changes. But what I have experienced with Nong Lily, like Lily,
the little girl.
Yeah, the little girl. She want to promote the eco-education. Mm-hmm. She had the goal to advocate for eco-education to be in the core curriculum of the Ministry of Education. This is her goal, and she came to me. Actually, she used to go to Prime Minister to go to like big people, you know.
Wow.
And then she came to me, and then as like I'm a resource person and like academia to help support her. So I went with her.
Oh, so she Googled and found you.
Yes.
Wow.
But contact first from her mom, and then she came to talk to me and request me to help her to achieve her goal. Mm-hmm. So I helped her. At that time, I'm not really into the environmental education, but because of Lily, I'm now learning on the EE, environmental education. And then we went to the Ministry of Education together to talk to the minister.
Wow.
Something like that. So we got that one. But my experience is that maybe youth need to do more homework on developing a good policy proposal. I mean, like clear and like more like detail of the policy proposal. And then maybe have to go and meet the right persons who have open-minded and welcome. Actually, youth is quite attractive. When they go to big people, they tend to listen to youth. But maybe we have to go to the right person and the right time. And then maybe go with like prepare well for the policy. Because I have seen like maybe some youth, they just like took the important day like World Environment Day, and then
Earth
show
Day.
A signboard in front of the building of the Ministry of Environment. But I think that one is not enough. I mean, you need like youth maybe have to prepare more and then contact more people to get through a list too. Otherwise, it's like kind of campaigning one day or just one time is not enough. Yes, it's gone.
Prepare the right information go to the right person at the right time.
Yes,
right.
it's very simple, but it's very hard to achieve or to do it. And for me, myself, is trying to do it. We can call that like green lobbying. So we try to be a green lobbying for this one.
Okay.
Maybe I can add on.
Please.
Yeah, I'm not sure on a policy formation as the question has asked, but I actually did my thesis on youth engagement, youth empowerment for the protection of endangered species. That was my topic. So, and I'm trying to implement what I learned. And as you say, how can a democratic culture and atmosphere support more significant role? I think that one of the things that I learned that to be able to engage or empower the youth, it really depends on the environment that that person is around, that the kid is around. And one of the main roles, one of the key players in engagement and empowerment are the parents. And also, so when at EEC, what we try to do, we try to create an atmosphere, an environment where one feels equal, which is a democratic culture where everyone is the same, no matter where you come from, you're the same. You're allowed to mess up here, you're allowed to make mistakes here. There's no competition between anyone. You know, we try to set like a safety environment, not safety in terms of only the activities, but mentally safe environment for them. And I think that once we support and create that environment for them, that's when youth engagement and empowerment is achieved at a good level, I think. But I think that a lot of kids are maybe I wouldn't use the word maybe are not empowered or engaged enough because of the trust that adults are not willing to give them in certain areas.
Okay, thank you so much. Please.
Okay. Can I have the question again?
Can you make it better?
Policy, right?
Make it bigger? Yeah.
I think I saw the policy that related around this issue. If we want the real change on the environmental impact, I think we should starting from what source of the problems. And we will see that a lot of the carbon emission thing is from the corporates, like to produce the things, to produce the cement, plastic, to grow the crops, to do the farm, the beef, and many things. And everyone knows. As I already said, that every big corporate around the world and also in Thailand already know that. But the policy in Thailand, you know, the BCG economy for the government are moving into that. Bio, circular and green, because we are the OEM of the world, that we produce the raw materials and many corporates from the world that will want to source the product from Thailand, want to certify the sustainable practice. So we will set up the EV hub in the eastern part. We will have many policy, many budget on these things. But what's the human resource again? Because I have already talked with many government related to this issue. They still lack of the skilled laborers on the EV, on the new economy, on the new innovation about the greens. So the policy have to integrate whole the pictures. If you want to move Thailand towards the BCG economy, the things that we will talk in the APEC right now, we want to, as Alex said, you have to invest more in the human resource, the education. You may have heard that university have to adapt. Chulalongkorn University, we still teach at the same, because we think that the workforce market is the same, but it's not.
Changed.
It's totally changed.
Yeah.
The innovation disruption. We have to do the technology things, the coding, the innovation, the startup, but the sustainability disruption are coming. And I think the university have to prepare for that. And not only the university, the school and the whole education system from the earliest day. If we can told them and prepare the skills and this one to them, maybe we can create a new pipeline to help accelerate the youth from the day one to be the purpose-driven leader and make the real change, and to be a carrier to help corporate, to help government drive this Thailand 2050 carbon neutral goal to be real.
Well, actually, it reminded me about what Kun Alex mentioned at the beginning that the goal of education have to be changed. The way that we perceive education is not just to produce graduate for the career, but just like what Kun Alex said that EEC is not to form or to produce environmentalists, but to create environmental awareness or like persons or natural HR, like human resources, equipped with environmental awareness, and he or she can do anything, can be an athlete, can be a businessman, can be a model, but with environmental awareness. I think this is the new paradigm, for environmental education.
To add on from this, I think many policies are the right way, such as the Ministry of Education want to set up the competency-based learning. I think that's a good way that we moved from only the result-based to be the competency. Competency that means the soft skill. We can have the people who can communicate well, think critically.
Critically, yeah.
Yes. And how to make that is the project-based learning. I think if we can make them face the real challenge, have a space to do things and reflect, I think we can create the one who doesn't know. We don't need only the researcher, but researcher is good, but we need the change maker that can use the innovation from the lab and implement it into the real world.
Okay, Ajahn Cook, would you like to say something?
I
would like to share.
Max just mentioned about the keyword change maker. So I think the goal of education is to create like mental conscious change maker. The change maker can do the changes like good impact in every field that in the field that they want to do, not only on the environmental management field, but in the communication, in art, in something. In engineers, but they have to be environmental conscious on this one. Yeah, and I just want to add on in my last slide. If you can show me my PowerPoint, I prepare example of kind of framework of the policy formulation. If you can
you go to the last slide?
Expand your concept. For example, we have the problem of the plastic pollution. Yes, when you think about the solution to solve the plastic pollution, many people will jump to the bottom one, education and awareness. It's very important, but maybe it's not enough to solve the problem. Maybe you have to kind of have a comprehensive, like try to find the policy instrument or some solution in each phase. If we see the life cycle of the plastic product or secure plastic and try to tackle it at the production, from the production phase, retail use and post-consumption. And then you enhance with the education and awareness for every stakeholder that you are working with. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for the question. I saw is from Ajahn Hook, Ajahn Attapon. He is another EE advocate in Thailand as well. Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, I think that's all for the question from the participants, right? Okay. Well, in conclusion, as we have discussed, EE is really important, and it's not only limited to in curriculum, but it has to be embedded, from like family, maybe like private sectors and government sectors can also join. Partnership is really important. And if we look at the core, the value of education right now, I think STEM is not enough. Like we should add one E on environmental education as well to make it maybe STEM like that, like to add another E on that. Okay, thank you so much for the participants, and thank you so much for the panelists. Once again, I would like to thank you, Dr.Sujitra or Dr. Cook from Chulalongkorn University, Kun Mac or Kun Chayuth, CEO of TACT Social Consulting, and of course, Kun Alex, UNEP Goodwill Ambassador for Thailand and CEO of EEC. Thank you so much. ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดีครับ Okay ครับ And last but not least, I would like to remind you that tomorrow we still have activities, right? Okay, so see you at 9 o'clock Bangkok time. We're going to have discussion on recommendations on better environment for the brighter future. Okay, it will be run by TACT team, right? Okay, so see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for your participation. Myself, as the representative on behalf of the organizer, I would like to extend my gratitude to all the participants and once again for the panelists. Thank you so much. สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับคุณครับ
สวัสดีค่ะขณะที่เรากำลังเดินหน้าและกลับคืนสู่สภาวะปกติ
Thank you very much
ต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ประเทศไทย
Greetings from Mexico.
เราขอขอบคุณนิวซีแลนด์เจ้าภาพเอเปกปี 2564 ที่หลอมรวมพวกเราให้เอาชนะความท้าทายที่ไม่เคยเกิดขึ้นนี้ไปพร้อมกันขอบคุณค่ะการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิด -19 แสดงให้เห็นความไม่สมดุลของวิถีชีวิตการทำธุรกิจและการปฏิบัติต่อโลกของเราจึงต้องทำให้ดีขึ้นเพื่ออนาคตที่ดีกว่าเดิมด้วยการร่วมใจกันเราสามารถยกระดับการรวมตัวทางเศรษฐกิจในภูมิภาคและกำหนดอนาคตเพื่อสร้างโลกที่เปิดกว้างเชื่อมโยงและสมดุลมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตเราเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจที่ครอบคลุมเปิดกว้างสำหรับการค้าและการลงทุนเปิดกว้างสำหรับการดำเนินธุรกิจเปิดกว้างสำหรับแนวคิดใหม่เราพัฒนาอยู่เสมอและพร้อมรับมือกับสิ่งใหม่ๆเราเปิดกว้างด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังยกระดับเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลสร้างแพลตฟอร์มใหม่ๆเพื่อการเติบโตปลดปล่อยศักยภาพที่ไร้ขีดจำกัดเรากำลังสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งความไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจและดึงทุกคนกลับมามีส่วนร่วมทั่วทั้งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและกว้างไกลออกไปเราเชื่อมโยงด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเรากำลังสร้างความเจริญรุ่งเรืองที่สมดุลเพื่อทุกคนและเพื่อธุรกิจทุกขนาดเพื่อให้เราได้ใช้ชีวิตที่กลมกลืนกับธรรมชาติและใช้ทรัพยากรให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดประเทศไทยกำลังมุ่งเน้นการผนึกกำลังของเศรษฐกิจชีวภาพเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนและเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวเพื่อเปลี่ยนมาใช้พลังงานหมุนเวียนและนวัตกรรมเพื่อสร้างห่วงโซ่อาหารที่ยั่งยืนลดการปล่อยมลพิษและจัดการของเสียอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเราสร้างความสมดุลด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันหนทางข้างหน้ายังมีความท้าทายที่รอเราอยู่อีกมากเราต้องพยายามมากยิ่งขึ้นเพื่อสร้างระบบนิเวศที่สมดุลและยั่งยืนเพื่อลูกหลานเราในอนาคตโดยไม่ทิ้งใครไว้ข้างหลังเอเปกได้พิสูจน์ให้เห็นถึงความยืดหยุ่นและศักยภาพในการเอาชนะความท้าทายอันใหญ่หลวงต่างๆเรามีสำนวนไทยที่พูดถึงจิตวิญญาณแห่งการร่วมมือกันว่าน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวกันอยู่ข้ามมหาสมุทรเรารวมเป็นหนึ่งเดียวและด้วยความเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันเราสามารถสร้างอนาคตที่สดใสยิ่งกว่าเดิม
APEC 2022 Thailand
แล้วพบกันค่ะ